everyone, it's Angela Dahlgren. Welcome back to another Facebook Live. Today, it's really low-key. I don't have a whole ton to talk about. I have some questions to answer. I have a Disney dialogue question. I have some a little news, as far as the Halloween party, Christmas party, the new fireworks show at Magic Kingdom Park, stuff like that. Other than that, I will be doing my best to answer your questions. If there's anything that I can't answer in this showing, I will always go back and answer them in the comments afterwards. And if you know the answer and I don't, feel free to leave a comment below, because that's what I love about this, is we can answer each other's questions. So in the meantime, tell me where you are viewing from and tell me what you're going to have for lunch today. I know that's a really weird question, but for me, I love hearing about food. Every day I ask my mom, what are you making for dinner tonight? I don't know, it's weird. So tell me what you're having for lunch today and where you're viewing from, okay? So like I said before, we're going to be answering a couple questions that I received in advance. I'm going to be talking about our Disney dialogue question, Halloween Christmas party at Walt Disney World, and fireworks show, and maybe a little Pandora business if you have questions. Oh my gosh. I'm a mess today. My allergies are getting the best of me. Do you guys get allergies? It's terrible. Anyway, let's move on to questions today. Okay, so we had a viewer or a follower named Angela, and she is a Canadian married to a teacher, and she says that that leaves us with very expensive travel to begin with, but it also limits us to only traveling during the peak season to what I assume to be Walt Disney World. She says, can you give me any great tips on how to save money on our trip? And can you tell me what peak season you recommend? It could be based on crowds or which season has the best extras. I'd love to know what your experts recommend. P.S. We get 10 days off at Easter, but no March break. So I am taking this question and I am turning it into my Disney dialogue question for today. So I have my own suggestions and some of my own answers, but I want to hear from you. What are your best tips for going to Walt Disney World or even Disneyland during the peak season? What are your best tips? Because you guys have gone, you know what works best, so I want to hear from you as well. Kathy says she's from Charlotte, North Carolina, and a protein bar for lunch. That's what I had for breakfast, Kathy, so thanks for sharing. Kenny says, can you explain the ease of riding Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Peter Pan after a Be Our Guest breakfast before opening? Yes, actually, I pretty much just did that when I went in April. So while you guys think about the Disney dialogue question, which is, what are your best tips for visiting Disney World during peak season, I'm going to answer Kenny's question. With Be Our Guest, okay, gotta collect my thoughts and have a drink of coffee because I'm wigging out a little bit. So what we did is when we went in April, we had an 8:10 reservation to Be Our Guest for breakfast. And pretty early, it was kind of hard to get up in time, but we were at Bay Lake Tower, so we just walked over. What they do is you walk into the park and you go to a cast member and you tell them that you have a reservation. They scan your magic band and you head right over to Be Our Guest. Okay, so that's 8:10, we're eating breakfast, blah, blah, blah. When you come out, you can get in line. There's like another cast member in Fantasyland, and you can get in line for what we did was Peter Pan's flight, because we were with kids, so they couldn't do Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, but you just wait in line, and then the minute it strikes 9 a.m., you just walk right on. So that's what you could do, is after breakfast, just line right up for the whatever attraction you want to do first. And what we did is we went from Peter Pan, walked onto that, to It's a Small World, walked right onto that, to Pirates of the Caribbean, walked right on. So that's why I always suggest getting there early if you can, because I mean, if you get there right when the park opens and you have a breakfast scheduled beforehand, you're already going to be in the park when it opens, so you already have that upper advantage. It's awesome. Okay. Colleen checking in from Harleysville, having either yogurt or cereal for lunch. Protein bars and cereal for lunch, you guys. You guys are too busy. Gotta have some more substance. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I'm shaking this. Amanda says, for best tips for visiting during the peak season is go early mornings, which I was kind of just saying, so thank you for mentioning that, Amanda. A break midday at the resort, completely agree on that afternoon siesta, and returning in the late afternoon or evening. all refreshed. I am totally with you, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Sean agreed with the rope drop for sure. You can do so much in the first hour or two. Completely agree. So let's go back to that. Let's go back to those tips before we get into best peak season time of year to go. I also have some money saving tips like she had requested. So rope drop, go right when the park opens. It is hard to get up that early. I'm not an early bird. I don't even think I had coffee before I went to breakfast. It's difficult, but you get so much done when the park is open and you're already there. Oh my gosh. Like I said, we walked on to 3 attractions, and what else did we go on? I think we did those 3 attractions that I mentioned, and then by then we had a fast pass, so then we did that, and then we walked on to another one. I'm telling you, I can't say enough good things about going at rope drop. It is kind of hard to get going, but once you're there, it's like 11 a.m. and you've done all these things, and if you really want, you can just eat lunch and go, which is what we ended up doing. And I wholeheartedly agree that especially if you are going either with children or during the summer, during peak season, go back to the room for an afternoon siesta. It will be very hot. If you're up early, you or your children will be crabby, at least, my entire family would be. And it's just, there's nothing better than going back to your room and just relaxing for a few hours. Even if you don't sleep, even if you just sit and watch TV at that, oh my gosh, okay, can we talk about the Walt Disney World TV loop where like they show you all the events and then there's that music in the background? Like my family falls asleep to that. It's amazing. You could do that, you could go swimming, and then you come back, and then you can close the park down because you've rested so much in the afternoon, which is when a lot of people get crabby. It's when the parks are busy. And then when you come back for the evening, you can stay for the fireworks show. You can stay for extra magic hours, which is another suggestion I would take advantage of. And then you're just going to be more refreshed. So those are my 2 cents on going early and staying late. And the afternoon siesta. Other tips is, where did I read this? Someone suggested, maybe it was Tom Bricker. I think Tom Bricker suggested doing a character dining experience if you're going during peak season, because chances are the lines for meeting all of these different Disney characters are going to be very, very long. But if you do a character dining meal, you're going to meet like 5 characters at once. You could go to Chef Mickey's and meet the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse characters. You could go to Garden Grill at Epcot and you could meet Chip and Dale and Mickey and, is that it? Maybe Goofy? Or is it just Mickey and Chip and Dale? Anyway, you'll meet them. You could do a princess breakfast at either Akershus or Cinderella's Royal Table, and you meet like 5 or 6 princesses there. So really, that's a great tip too. It is more expensive, but you're meeting those characters all at once, which will save you a lot of time if you or your kids are really into meeting different characters. Okay? Okay, moving on. Debbie said, is the refurbishment of Pop Century going to cause any issues? And for 2 adults and 1 child, should we try and request a redone room? Debbie, I don't know the answer to that. I will look into it for you. And I would just say that the refurbishment will affect you depending on where your room is. We have stayed at Disney resorts during refurb, specifically the boardwalk. I think we stayed there 2 different times, and they were doing construction. And the first time it didn't bother us because we were far enough away from where they were working, but another time we were pretty close so we could hear the hammering. So it just depends on where your room is what I would most likely say, depending on when you're going to. I will check to see when that refurb is estimated to be done and get back to you. And if the rooms are redone, there's no harm in requesting, an updated room. Whatever you want to do. If it's done, why not, is what I would say. Other tips for visiting during peak season. I need some of your advice too, guys. I have my list, but it's boring to just hear me talk, so I want to know your best tips. And also, let us know, there's no really good time to go during peak season, but what do you think is the best time? Like, if you had to choose and you were only going during peak season, which time would you pick? I personally would pick, well, like we said, there's really no good time. Okay, so I'm going to tell you when I've gone. I've gone during spring break 3 or 4 times, and it is really crowded. There's just no getting around that. It's really crowded, but I've also gone in late April, and that has not been bad at all. When I did my Facebook Live last month, I mean, you guys saw the crowds. It really wasn't bad at all. I've also gone end of February, very beginning of March, which technically is right before peak season. Hasn't been bad either. But your best bet if you are going during the summer, I would say, is like as late August as you can get. It's still going to be hot, but school will have started for some people, so it won't be quite as busy. Brad said, just booked for a trip in November, have a party of 6. Any tips for making dining reservations? I can start making them on Saturday morning. Well, what I would do, Brad, for you is I would go and I would enter in all of your credit card information now, and I would enter in how many guests and the dates that you're looking for and your meal time. You can do that all in advance if you're logged into your account, and it will stay there and it will make booking a lot easier. Also, if you're traveling with an infant, they have to be counted as part of the number. You know, if you have 5 adults and 1 infant, it has to be 6 guests. Also, depending on where you want to go, I would book right when it opens. Like, what is it? The phone lines are open at like 7, bookings at like 8 or something. You know, get up early to do that. That's 7 a.m. Eastern time. So yeah, if you're looking at those popular restaurants like Cinderella's Royal Table or Be Our Guest, you really got to do it as soon as you can. Also, I know you guys, this is a shameless plug, but it is effective. Use our reservation finder on the TouringPlans website. It's amazing. I am not joking. I got a reservation for Be Our Guest 2 weeks before we left just by using that reservation finder. And I'm going to do a video on that so I can kind of explain how it works better. But in the meantime, check that out because you just kind of type it in and then forget about it. And TouringPlans will text and email you when a reservation becomes available for your party size and the time that you're looking for. So that's probably my biggest advice, is to do that. Otherwise, just have everything ready so that the Saturday morning you said, it's all laid out and ready to go, and you can just put submit reservation or whatever it is. So good luck to you with that. All right, going back to my other questions. Oh, we got quite a few. How have I missed these? Amanda's peak season pick is mid to end of August. Yep, completely agree, because some kids are in school already. Works out. Christina's going to be there next week. She's hoping to beat the crowds before Memorial Day. My kid's last day of school is tomorrow. Oh, happy end of the school year to them. I hope that you can beat the crowds too. I mean, May is another good time to go. My aunt and uncle live down there, and they always say that May is just beautiful because it's not too hot yet, and not everyone's out of school, so the crowds are pretty reasonable. So I think May is a really great, awesome time to go too. Scott said, we're using TouringPlans to request a room at the Poly. If we do an early check-in online, would that supersede a request? Okay, actually, I just answered this question yesterday, so I know the answer to it. So you have the option when making a room request. You can either do it through TouringPlans, or you can do it via the online check-in with Disney. But the thing is I don't suggest doing both. And I'm just going to point out, because I think there is a few questions about this, TouringPlans can make the request for you, just like you can make the request to Disney, but the success is not guaranteed. You know what I mean? I mean, we do our best. We definitely fax that over for you, just like you make the request to Disney if you were to call or email them or do it an online check-in, but it's not guaranteed. But we do our best, and it does increase your chances of getting the room that you desire. But what I'll say is, oh my gosh, okay, so your question. I would do the TouringPlans room request instead, because you can be more specific in your room selection. I just realized I haven't been looking at the camera for like 5 minutes. I'm sorry about that. You can make a more detailed request by using the TouringPlans feature, because you can hand pick your room using that, where if you do the online check-in afterwards, it erases and disregards that TouringPlans room request, if that makes sense. So don't do both, because if you make the TouringPlans request and then do the online check-in, they're only going to look at the online check-in request, and the other one's just going to be obsolete. So don't do both, just pick one, is my answer. But I just said it in a really long way. Sean's going to be there late August, early September. get to enjoy the Halloween party. That's a really good time to go, Sean. That's a really great time to go. In fact, you know, the Halloween party is not going to be as busy. It's going to be like $74, I think, which is super cheap. Very, very reasonable. It's going to be hot. I'm not going to lie to you. I've gone in September. It's still incredibly hot in Florida, but crowds are much lower. And that's, again, when I recommend the afternoon siesta, because you can just take a break from the heat. Kathy loves the reservation finder. I'm telling you, it's amazing. Scott agrees. You guys, I'm just not saying that because I work for TouringPlans. Like, it is effective. I also got Be Our Guest, and then I think the day before my trip, I got into Chef Mickey's at the Contemporary, which is a character dining thing. So I'm just saying, it's free. Just look into it. Let's see. I was wondering if the duration time for the line waits in Disneyland is usually live, or is that data kind of fixed? As far as I know, Disneyland, are you talking about our, like, TouringPlans waits or the Disneyland waits? I would say that they're updated as, you know what? I don't know the answer to that. I would think that for Disneyland, you know, they give out the red cards and then they kind of track to see how long, when you walk in the entrance and you get to the ride, how long the line is. And then they update it from there. You know what? I'm going to look into that, though, as far as the TouringPlans side of it. I know how it works for the Disney side. Got to double check on the behind-the-scenes stuff for that because I'm not super techie. Brad was saying our trip in November is for us to enjoy the Christmas events. We haven't been during this season before. Any tips? Oh my gosh, Brad, November is the best time to go. I went last year in November. It was, I would say mid-November. It was like maybe the 13th or something. It is a great time to go. Oh my gosh. And especially if you can do the Christmas party on like a Tuesday or Wednesday, that would be ideal because it's not as expensive, I would believe, than the weekends. And it's not as busy than a weekend party. Other than that, I would go around the resorts and go see the Christmas decorations. Wilderness Lodge is beautiful during Christmas. Just like imagine a snowy, cozy winter lodge with a huge Christmas tree and like a nice big fireplace. Oh, it's just beautiful. And you can also check out the decorations at the Contemporary. Do the monorail loop is what I would suggest with those Magic Kingdom area resorts. That is just beautiful. And things like the Beach Club and Yacht Club, you know, they're decorated outside with the holly and, you know, the greenery. It's just beautiful. So if I were to say, besides the Christmas party, just walk around the resort area. It's beautiful. Darla's used the reservation finder. My husband joined in. Hi! When I'm out there, we like to update the lines time. Oh, so Darla's referring to our lines app. Okay, thank you. She likes to update it. She says that it's pretty accurate. Thank you for answering that for me, Darla. I have to say, like I said, when it comes to the tech stuff, I can edit a video, but when it comes to other tech stuff, I'm not super great at it. But I will go in and double check that answer for you. Scott said, reminder to anyone that uses the reservation finder, if you don't choose to go with the time TouringPlans finds, you need to go back in and request the reservation again because TouringPlans will close it out once the reservation is found. That is true. Say that you did get the 8 a.m. Time for Be Our Guest like I did and you didn't want that, just go and resubmit it with a different time or just write breakfast and then another time will pop up if we find it for you. So that is very good advice. Once we find the reservation, that reservation is closed down and it's up to you to book it. Otherwise, you just have to resubmit, if that makes sense. Shelly from Chicago, hi! My mom is from Chicago area. I have lots of family there. We are coming September 1st, and since it is very hot, we were thinking of going to one of the water parks for the first time, and we're not sure which one. Do you have a recommendation? My kids are 11 and 13. And then they won't let me see the rest of your comment. Oh no. Okay, well. I have only been to Typhoon Lagoon. It seems like Blizzard Beach is like always up for refurbishment and is always being updated. I don't know. It just seems like it's always closed. I've been to Typhoon Lagoon one time. I really, really enjoyed it. I can't tell you much about Blizzard Beach simply because I haven't been there and I don't want to give you false information. So this is one for you guys to answer for Shelly because I don't have enough experience with the water parks to give you an answer. Also, this camera is sideways and it's kind of bugging me. Guys, this is live TV. It's It's not always pretty. But Typhoon Lagoon is just, I mean, I love water parks personally. I love the lazy river, and I love the wave pool, even though I get water in my eyes constantly. I love the huge drops of the slides. I just don't think, if your family loves swimming and loves water, you just can't go wrong. But that is separate admission from the 4 theme parks, so just consider that too. Unless you get like the, Park Hopper Plus option or something like that. Matt's leaving in 9 days. Have fun. Oh, Darla mentioned the gingerbread houses during Christmas. Duh. Okay, so when we were there last November, and we're actually going this November, we went to the Contemporary to eat, and they were just putting up the huge gingerbread house. And when I say huge, like, it is ginormous. That is definitely worth checking out. It's made out of gingerbread, and I learned that they use egg whites to, they use it as a glue to put the gingerbreads, attach them onto the rooftop and everything. And what it does is it basically makes this, like, technically edible cement. And it is, the gingerbread is not moving once that egg white, you know, adheres to whatever surface it's on. All right. Eric says that Blizzard Beach for that age, 11 and 13 you said your kids were, is his option. Scott said the wave pool is better at Typhoon Lagoon. This is why you guys are amazing, is you can answer these questions. I love it. It's why I love doing Facebook Lives. Eric says, but Typhoon Lagoon is awesome. Scott likes the layout of Typhoon Lagoon better, more than Blizzard Beach. I guess you guys could always go and read this, but I'll just narrate. And Christina said that the one time she went to Blizzard Beach, it was very crowded. And again, if you're going during summer, that might be the case. It is incredibly hot in Florida, so most people are kind of having the same idea to go to the water parks. So you might face that too, and it's just kind of the risk. And I think we're updated on comments for now. Okay, let's go back and talk about money-saving tips, because with our question that we were talking about, Angela was saying that, you know, she's from Canada and they're going during peak season, and, you know, it's just expensive overall. So she wants to know some money-saving tips. And I have several, in fact, and you guys jump in with whatever money-saving tips you have as well. With the first time we went with my family, we are a family of 6. And I have 3 brothers, and they were all in sports, so as you can imagine, they eat a lot. So what my mom did is she went to Sam's Club, which is like a Costco, like a wholesale buy in bulk place, and she stocked up. I swear half of her suitcase was full of snacks, full of granola bars. It was vacation, so I think she got us Chewy Sprees and like juice boxes and stuff like that, and she brought snacks, and she gave us each a fanny pack, because that's when fanny packs were cool. I still think we should use them, people. Let's jump on board with that. And she would put, every day, she would put a bunch of snacks in our fanny pack, and whenever we got hungry at the parks, we could just open that up and eat a snack. So I would say, bring your own snacks, and also eat breakfast in your room. You're going to save a lot of money that way, not having to buy breakfast every morning. And what you can do is, if you're driving a car, if you're using a rental car, you can just drive to a grocery store beforehand, buy what you need, and then bring it back to your room. Each room has a fridge. It's not super cold. It's not going to freeze anything, but it will keep your milk cold. The other thing you could do if you're using like the Disney Magical Express is that you can do a grocery delivery service. I need to stop saying because that's so unprofessional. So that's a big way to save money, is bring your own snacks and eat breakfast in your room. Another thing that, depending on your length of stay, don't get the park hopper option. I love getting the park hopper because it is nice to do, you know, spend the day at one park and then watch fireworks at another. But if you're staying like 5 days, it's not really worth the extra cost. Once you start staying, like getting a 7 to 10 day park ticket, that's when the park hopper becomes cheaper. But if you're only doing like a 4 or 5 day park ticket pass, then it's not really worth the extra money if you're looking to save. Once again, I love it, but if you're saving money, just forego it. What else do I have? Don't feel like you have to spend every single day at the park. There's tons to do on Walt Disney World property without even going into a park. I think I've done a Facebook Live about this. I think I may have even filmed a video about it on our YouTube page, which, subscribe if you haven't. And there's just so much to do. My favorite thing to do is walk on the boardwalk, the Epcot Resort area, where there's the Yacht and Beach Club and the boardwalk. It's my favorite place to be, because they have entertainers on the boardwalk at night doing tricks. There's games where you can shoot basketballs and win prizes. You know, you can rent a Surrey bike and like 4 to 6 people can ride a bike, or, you know, just regular bikes. I think the Yacht and Beach Club have volleyball courts and tennis courts. There's so many things that you can do without going to a park. And I always feel like people think, well, I'm at Disney World, I have to go to the parks. And I'm exactly the same way, but if you're staying for 7 days and you can do everything a little slower, I would definitely suggest taking a break. And not only are you saving money on park tickets, but you're doing something different. You're exploring things outside the parks, which, you know, there's so much to offer on Walt Disney World property that goes beyond the park. So that's like my biggest suggestion. And now I'm going to catch up on your comments because I want to make sure that I catch them all. Brad just signed up for a TouringPlans annual subscription. Is there a limit to the number of dining requests I can put in at one time? I know for sure 2. I think maybe 3 or 4, but I think it just all depends. And that's one of those things where I'm not on that software end of things, so I'm not sure 100%, but I know for sure 2, maybe 3. That wasn't helpful at all. I'm sorry. I'll get back to you. David answered the question. No limit, reserve away. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so we have our answer. You guys, how embarrassed am I? You guys know more than me about all that stuff, but you know, it's how it goes. It's how it goes sometimes. Ron said you're limited to 2 dining requests. 1, 2. Sorry, you guys. Oh, I see. Okay. All right, so I was right. On TouringPlans, yeah. You're limited. Okay. Now I'm getting confused. Okay, I gotta go back to the question. This is the boring part, guys. Bear with me. Okay, they're limited to the number of dining requests I can put in. Okay, I think I answered the question correctly. Okay, moving on. I started sweating because I got a little worked up and embarrassed there. Darla was saying that she likes to rent DVC points at the boardwalk. I've done it before too. There's so much room. If you ever have the chance to stay at a villa at all on Disney property, it's so nice. You have so much room. Even a 1-bedroom can fit like 4 to 6 people or something, because there's pull-out couches that can sleep people, and you just have a ton of room. You have a full kitchen with like a dishwasher and an oven and a microwave and everything. Best snack in Magic Kingdom. Adam, I'm telling you, I am a salty person 100%, so I have to say the popcorn. There's just like, there's no competition. A lot of people would say, oh, Angela, it's the Dole Whip or it's the Mickey bars. No, it's the popcorn. You will be like so thirsty, you'll feel dehydrated afterwards. It's so worth it. Oh my gosh, get the popcorn. And you can buy those specialty buckets when they're available too, which I like to use for candy or like a cookie jar if I bring it home, so stuff like that. So that's my opinion, but you guys say your opinions too. Okay, we'll take a break from the best tips for visiting Disney during the peak season. We will we'll come back to that if we have time, if you guys are still interested, because I do have a couple more questions to answer, and you know, I just want to talk a little bit about the fireworks and stuff like that. Matthew wants to do what's a must-do with a 4-year-old. Well, if it's a boy or girl. If it's a girl, what we did with my daughter, she's 3.5, is we did Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. That was a big hit. They get to pick their own dress if you choose that package. They get nail polish and makeup. They get to a hairstyle and a crown, and they get a necklace and like a wand. Oh my gosh, they get so much stuff. Like, we did the biggest package, which I will say it was expensive. It was $200, but I also have a husband who can't say no to his little girl. But I will say that what you get for that $200 is a lot of stuff. If you ever want me to talk more about that, or if you ever want me to do a video on it, let me know, because I think that yes, although it is very expensive, you get a ton included, and it's a very cool experience. That being said, you do not have to get the biggest package when doing the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique to make it wonderful. It's wonderful all on its own, just from the experience, without having to buy the dress or a wand. I'm just sharing my own personal experience with my daughter. Okay, other must-dos with 4-year-olds. A lot of them just like to meet characters. And the pool, you would not believe how big of a hit the pool is, just with kids in general. I'm sure a lot of you guys know that. I mean, talk about saving money. Just stay at your hotel for a day and let them do the water slide. I mean, That would keep my kid busy for like 2 days. Darla says that the cream cheese pretzel is nice. Okay, I'm glad that you guys agree with me about the popcorn because I am all about it. I have tested a lot of popcorns in my day. Disney popcorn's the best, I'm just saying. Jarrett, was the best way to rent DVC points? I'm actually thinking about doing a Disney Vacation Club video. For those of you who don't know what DVC is, it's Disney Vacation Club. I'm thinking about doing a video on that. If you would like a video, let me know right now in the comments because it's something I've kind of been putting off, but if it's something you think you'll find super valuable, I'll move that more to the top of the list. Ron has money saving tips. Open Disney Vacation account, buy discounted Disney gift cards, then load onto Disney Vacation account. Every $1,000 spent on Disney Vacation account gets $20 Disney gift card. Jeez, that is a good deal, isn't it? I know that Target has the same deal where if you use the red card, you get 5% off on the Disney gift cards. So that's I guess any except the Target ones. So that's another good way to do it. Also, this is a very specific PSA that I feel like a lot of people don't know. I didn't know till like 3 days ago. It's super exciting. You know when you have a bunch of Disney gift cards because you get them for presents from people, and that's like, you know, if you're Disney buff, automatically people are like, your go-to is a Disney gift card. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine. But when you go to buy online, you can only use like 2 at once. So then you feel like you have to call customer service and then use the gift cards that way. No, if you go to DisneyGiftCards.com, you can start an account and combine all of your gift cards onto one. And then when you go to buy stuff online, you just use that one gift card. It's like the best life hack I've ever found out when it comes to Disney. And it kind of piggybacks on with what Ron was saying as far as, you know, using them. So yeah, that was really neat. I did not know that. All right. What is the best pool at Walt Disney World? David wants to know. Stormalong Bay, which is at the Yacht Club, 100%. I don't think anyone would dispute that. The reason being is because it has a sand bottom. Like when you walk in the pool, it is sand, but it's like clean sand where you're not worried that a jellyfish is going to get you, which is, you know, my concern, which doesn't make much sense, but, you know, that shows how much time I've spent at the beach. Yeah, people just love it, and they have a pirate ship theme where you, like, the water slide is a pirate ship. It's big. You can only get in if you are staying at the yacht or beach club. They actually give you, like, you have to, like, use your magic band, or they used to give you actual wristbands just for the pool to make sure that people weren't getting in who weren't staying there. So that's my advice all the way. Let's see. David wants a video on DVC. Okay, I will start working on that. Roxanne has a question about room request. When you check in 60 days before, should I not make a room request since I've picked a room on TouringPlans? Right. So do not make a room request, you know, when you check in, because then that will make the TouringPlans one obsolete. They won't look at that. And with the TouringPlans one, as I mentioned earlier, is you can make a lot more detailed of a request because you're handpicking your room essentially. So that's what I have to say about that. A question that we had earlier is Colleen said, we will be using the dining plan on our upcoming trip. There will be 7 of us in total on 3 separate reservations. How is the 18% gratuity added to our check when we are all eating together? Is it charged to one account, or can we all leave our portion of the tip in cash? So that's a very good question. For those who don't know, if you are making a reservation at Disney for 6 guests or more, an 18% gratuity is automatically added that you have to pay. And so what you can do is if you're requesting separate checks, then that gratuity will be divided amongst the 6 of you and you will all pay your portion of that. If you're using the dining plan, tell them at the beginning, and if you want separate checks, also tell them at the beginning. And what you'll do is you'll scan your Magic Band for your dining plan credit, and then tell them if you want to pay the tip with your Magic Band, a credit card, a Disney gift card, or cash. And then you should be able to take care of it that way. So I hope that answers your question, Colleen. Hillary says, is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train really going to be closed for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party? That is a very big question that a lot of people have kind of been freaking out about, actually, because if you look on the Disney website, there's a list of attractions that will be open for the Halloween party. And if you look, you'll see that Splash Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain, and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train are not on that list, which upset a lot of people because you feel like you pay to go to this party, one of the reasons being so you can go on these bigger rides without a wait. And if the 3 big ones are closed, then what's the point? What I will say is don't lose hope, don't freak out yet, because the list is subject to change. The party is still like 4 months away, 3.5 months away. The list is subject to change until we see like hardcore evidence that those rides are not going to be there. Just relax. We still have some months before, you know, that time comes. What I will say is that Splash Mountain will in fact not be open because it's going under refurbishment. But as far as Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Big Thunder Mountain, they still could be put on the list. So don't worry. It could happen. But I definitely see why people are worried because, like I said, you feel like that's part of the fee that you're paying for the ticket is getting, you know, those shorter lines for those bigger attractions. So I definitely understand the concern 100%. Darla said, I spoke to Caitlin on my Disney experience, and she said that they are all up and running except for Splash Mountain. So there's your answer, everyone. You can relax. It's exciting. Although I know on TouringPlans, we updated our information to match Disney's, and if Disney's should change on their website, we will update ours as well. So if you're a TouringPlans subscriber, or if you're just a fan and you use our website for basic access, you'll find that information too. Supposedly, Mine Train was added back on for parties. No word on Big Thunder yet. So there we go, you guys. You know, all's well that ends well, right? Okay, now, if we have answered our peak season question, I want to make sure that I've kind of talked about everything I've wanted to. We talked about the best time to go during the peak season. We've talked about some money-saving tips. Which one more that I'll add is if you're not buying park tickets from Disney, use our Disney World ticket comparison tool to look for park tickets that are, you know, the best deal for you. We show all the discounted ones that are from wholesalers that we trust, and so you can check that out. It's our Disney World ticket comparison tool. It's a very long name, but I can also put a link to it if you prefer. And other tips for going at peak season: make those fast pass reservations. Make those advanced dining reservations. That's going to save you a lot of worry and a lot of time. You know, make a touring plan, which we would suggest, you know, but also be flexible. I know it's weird for me to say, make a touring plan, but be flexible. But I'm just saying, especially if you're going with kids, you have to be flexible. If you have a tight itinerary, it's probably not going to work out well, because I know for my kids, they'll be happy 1 minute and 5 minutes later they'll like be crying and sobbing and want a nap. So be flexible, be patient. If the crowds are high, you're going to be bumped into. You're going to hear people yelling. You're going to hear kids crying. You know, it's going to feel a little overwhelming. So that's when I definitely suggest that afternoon break. Because if you're someone who just gets overwhelmed in crowds, you're going to want that break just to kind of reset before going back for the night. Okay, so what else do you guys want to talk about? Do you want to talk about American Idol coming to ABC? Do you want to talk about Happily Ever After, which is the new fireworks show at Magic Kingdom? Do you want to talk about Pandora or the Christmas party or the Halloween party? This is your time to ask questions about that. I can always I can talk forever, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. So while you think about it, I'm just going to tell you the dates for the parties coming up. So the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, those dates are from August 25th, so very early, to November 1st, the day after Halloween, which I think that's the first time they've done that. How do you feel about that? You know, I don't know. I mean, I get it. I get why they want to extend it to November 1st, but it's like, for me, as soon as Halloween's over, I'm putting away the Halloween decorations and putting up the Christmas decorations. But, you know, November 1st, it's a day. What difference does it make? And then for Mickey's, for the Christmas party, the dates are November 8th to December 22nd. And if you haven't been to either of those, the Halloween party has special parade. It's called the Boo to You Parade. They have Happy Hollow Wishes, which is their fireworks display. And what I'm wondering is, since Wishes is gone, are they going to change the Halloween fireworks? What do you guys think? I don't know. Stay tuned. There's the Hocus Pocus Villain Spectacular, which is a show brought on by some Disney villains and the Sanderson sisters from Hocus Pocus. And then you also get to go trick-or-treating. You know, what's better than that? And for the Christmas party, Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, you get different kinds of cookies. I think they even have like slushies. You get eggnog and hot chocolate. They have what is it called? Once Upon a Christmas Time Parade, which is fabulous. They, like, Elsa turns the castle into ice, which, like, will make you cry. And then there's a fireworks show. It's beautiful. If you haven't gone to any of those parties, you might want to make a bucket list point for one of those, because they are very fabulous and they're fun and very magical. And then quickly, let me know if you've seen Happy Hollow Wishes. No, Happily Ever After. Wishes was the fireworks show at Magic Kingdom for 14 years. And the new fireworks show just debuted, Happily Ever After. I think it's about 20 minutes. And Len Testa wrote an article about it, and he said that he was with a friend. And after watching the video mapping projections on the castle, his friend said, I almost don't need to see the fireworks, because it's that amazing, the video projection on the castle. It's very detailed, it's very colorful. There's a new theme song, there's Disney music, and the whole theme behind that is that it kind of it follows the characters as they pursue their dreams, because you know that's what Disney's big on, is following your dreams. So that's kind of the theme of the fireworks show. I am not watching it. I have not watched the live stream. I'm not looking at it because I'm going in a few weeks and I want to experience it for myself. I don't want to ruin it. I just want to see it live. I don't see that we have any other. Oh, we do have questions and I missed it. Oh my gosh, I was ready to go. I'm sorry. Let's see. Okay, so I kind of answered some of these. Angie wants to know Christmas party tips. Are the Christmas party fireworks different from the regular fireworks? They are amazing. The Christmas party fireworks are incredible because the fireworks go like around you. And it's so beautiful. It's so emotional. I'm not a super emotional person, except when it comes to my kids. But those fireworks, just especially when the castle is lit, which doesn't have to do with the fireworks, but just like when Elsa, oh my gosh, okay, you guys know. I mean, if you've seen Frozen, you know that it's emotional, but then imagine the whole castle lighting up with ice, and then you just, you shed a tear, I'm just saying. Okay. Joe, that's, let's see, the Christmas fireworks show is amazing. Okay, so Joe agrees. Any other tips for the Christmas party? A lot of people don't like the Christmas party as much because they say that there's more opportunity to meet characters at the Halloween party, and they just tend to like the Halloween party more. I like the Christmas party more, you guys. I don't know if it's because it snows on Main Street, USA. I don't know if it's because it's all light and airy and magical because it's Christmas and just seems optimistic. I love Halloween too, so it's like picking which child I love better. But if I had to choose, I would say I like the Christmas party just a little more because of the festiveness. So that's my 2 cents, but if you like the Halloween party more, I'm not judging. I'm supporting your decision. I just preferably like the Christmas party. Lori will be there in 3 weeks. Have a great time. Love to hear if anyone has previewed Pandora in person. A lot of my coworkers have previewed Pandora. My aunt and uncle, they live in Florida. They've previewed it. And they say that the Banshee ride is like kind of incredible, although some people have been getting sick on it and the restraints are very tight that some people have been complaining about being a little claustrophobic, so that's something to keep in mind. But otherwise, it's visually very stimulating and amazing. You know, I believe you can look from side to side and still see, like, you know, the screen. It's very much like Soarin', except, like, up a notch, you know, because it's just bigger technology-wise. You know, it's more advanced. But people who have seen it really enjoy it. And then as far as the boat ride, that also is very visually stimulating. But I believe TouringPlans said not to get a fast pass for that. If you're going to choose one, do, what is it, like Flight of the Na'vi or something, do that one, not the boat ride, if you have to pick a fast pass. Because Disney expects the lines to go down with the boat ride over time, you know, once like the hype dies down. Okay, let's see. Yeah, okay, well, I think I've answered questions and I've had a really good time doing this with you. Since we're in landscape, I'm going to work better at looking at the camera instead of myself. I'm not quite used to landscape yet. If you missed this stream, I will be updating it to our YouTube page as well, and it will be posted here. If I did not answer any questions, I will do so right after this broadcast. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you in about 2 weeks right here. Bye-bye.